What's going on YouTube? This is ParkerLad88 coming at you with another video. Today I've got another deck profile for you guys of an old deck that I used to run, and that is Buster Blader. But I have a little twist on it. This time I'm actually mixing it with Shaddolls. I really have a soft spot in my heart for a Buster Blader because the plays are so much fun, and Shaddolls were one of my favorite decks to play, be it that it was a fusion-based archetype and offered so many plays. So I decided to put them together, and I got this deck right here, and it turned out to be a lot of fun. So I want to show you guys my deck profile. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started with our monster lineup. The first thing we do is we run 2 copies of the original Buster Blader. Gets 500 extra attack for every dragon in my opponent's graveyard and on their field. 2600 attack, very strong. Deck is all about him, so we have to run this guy at least 2. A new addition is we're running 1 copy of Buster Blader, the new one, the Destruction Swordmaster. So before, if you guys remember from my last deck profile, I never liked this card just because I never felt like it synergized very well with the deck. The fact that it only counts as Buster Blader in the grave and on the field means that I can't special summon it with the Buster Whelp, and the fact that I need Buster Blader in order to go for the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman means that this guy has to be on my field and grave, so I never had a way to get him here. But in this new version of the deck I do. So also what this guy does is if my opponent's monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, I can equip it to him. So in any way, shape, or form, which I really like, it sets up for some unique destruction effects. And then once per turn, I can send a monster equipped to Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordmaster, send it to the graveyard, and destroy all monsters of the same type that my opponent controls. So it offers a neat little board wiping thing that I can do. Still not my favorite, but at least in this deck he is viable. Next up we have the main and best card in the Buster Blader main deck, and that is Buster Whelp. You guys know what this die does. He lets you search for destruction sword cards, he lets you special summon Buster Blader, and lets you go for all your crazy plays, so I won't elaborate on him too much. Next up we have Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, what I think is the second best card in the Buster Blader main deck. So what this guy does is he's a Dragunity Phalanx. You can equip it to a Buster Blader, and then you can special summon it from the spell trap card zone once per turn. As long as he is equipped to Buster Blader or basically just any monster, because you can do wacky Prisma plays as well. As long as he's equipped to a monster, your opponent can't special summon the extra deck. The one thing that I absolutely love about Buster Blader is how strong the locks are, and as long as the extra deck is good, this card will definitely always be good. Level 1 tuner, also very good. So that actually does it for all of the Buster Blader cards. Now we're going to move into the Shaddoll engine, which starts with 2 Squamata. So Squamata, if you guys remember, this is the Foolish from the grave, and then also if you flip it, it destroys monsters. So definitely good for thinning out your deck. We have 2 Beasts for draw power. We have 2 Falcos just to special summon stuff because it's good, and it's also a level 2 tuner, which is actually important when we get into the extra deck. We have 1 Hedgehog for search power, 1 Dragon for destroying stuff, and then we have 1 Hound because I love this card and I just can't bear to let it go. This card is actually really good. It offers a lot of utility. Being able to interrupt your opponent by putting their stuff in defense mode, being able to flip up your own Shaddolls, being able to recycle cards from your graveyard in another way that's not core, it's all really good stuff. So that's why I really like this card. And that actually does it for the monster lineup. Let's go ahead and move into our spells. We have 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. So I'm going to talk about this for a little bit. I mean, you guys already know what Shaddoll Fusion does. I'm not going to elaborate on that, but let me tell you the part that it plays in this deck. So this is why I actually think that this guy is actually worth running now. So basically you can search him off of the Buster Whelp, fuse for Shikinaga, which puts him in the grave as Buster Blader, so you can actually go ahead with your plays. It means you don't always have to rely strictly on having Buster Blader and Buster Whelp in your hand, because you can use Buster Whelp to search this and then go on with your Buster Dragon plays, which is what the deck is meant to do. This was always a problem with this card, but the fact that I can actually get it out of my hand now makes this card actually a lot better. So that is the main thing, and Shaddoll Fusion just lets us do that. And the other thing that Shaddoll Fusion lets you do is it gives you access to all the Shaddoll effects, which really helps thin your deck out. The other problem being that Buster Blader only has that one play, and it never had enough ways to get to the Buster Whelp play. But with the consistency that you get from the Shaddolls, being able to mill stuff with Squamata, being able to draw off Beast, and the rest of the draw power that I have in this deck, it really helps the deck out a lot, and it makes your plays more consistent. And it also gives you extra lock power on top of the Buster the Buster Dragon, Buster Blader locking stuff that you do with Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, being able to negate things or stop summons with Winda, being able to negate special summon effects with Shikinaga, so on and so forth. But anyway, let's keep going. We have 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. I'm still looking for my 3rd, but I just wanted to go ahead and get the deck profile out, so I'm proxying Magical Planet. We have 2 copies of Instant Fusion for the Windas and for Norden. We have 2 Wonder Wands. I love Wonder Wand. I've been running Wonder Wand and Shaddolls for forever, but since this is like a mixed build, I can't run this card at 3. I mean, I can, but I don't want to see this card like too much, like drawing into multiple Wonder Wands. It's really good in combination with Instant Fusion and with Winda and the rest of our Shaddolls, because most of them are spellcasters. The cool thing you can do, like you can flip up Falco, get their effects, and then tribute off a Wonder Wand. You can Instant Fusion a Winda and then use Wonder Wand that way, and then you can also just fuse with Shaddoll Fusion, get the effects of your Shaddolls within your deck, and then you can Wonder Wand your Winda and get back to Shaddoll Fusion as well. So I think this card offers a lot for consistency and just helping your pluses. We won 1 copy of Destruction Swordsman Fusion. This is the Super Poly for Buster Blader. I only run this card at 1 because I can search it. I might change it to 2, I'm not sure. I really focused on the deck that was just the most fun for me. I'm sure I could do things to this deck to make it more competitive and whatnot, but I wanted to focus on just making this deck as much fun for me as possible. So that's why I only run this at 1, that's why I run Dog, and a couple of other things as well. Next up we have 1 copy of Foolish. Foolish is good in Shaddolls. I won't say anything more about that. 1 copy of El Shaddoll Fusion because it's at 1, and then that does it for all the spells. Moving into the traps, this is pretty trap-heavy, one of my more trap-heavy decks. We have 3 copies of Sinister Shadow Games. Sinister Shadow Games does a lot for the deck in terms of facilitating plays, offering offense, offering defense, thinning out the deck. I mean, it's a freaking Foolish barrel that allows you to flip up your Shaddolls and get the effects that way, so keeps the pluses coming. One thing I really like to do is send Dog off of this to activate my Shaddoll effects, or basically if I activate something that, like let's say special summon a Falco from Grave, so that my opponent can't attack into it, I'll use Dog in order to flip their monster into defense mode so I can actually have my Falco play ready for next turn. So a lot of good plays come from this card. We have 2 strikes, 1 bottomless, 1 core. Core lets us get back our Shaddoll Fusion, and then it also works as a monster which you can use for synchro plays or just being a body, any kind of thing like that. I like this card a lot. We have 1 copy of Destruction Sword Memories. This is our Miracle Fusion from Grave, and in worst case scenarios, you can discard a Destruction Sword card from your hand to special summon a Buster Blader monster. So you can get the old Buster Blader or the new Buster Blader. All of the Buster Blader cards should have been made like this to be like Buster Blader monster, not just straight Buster Blader. So I'm glad that they actually did something about that. Actually, I think it's funny, I actually mentioned them getting like a spell or something like that, the special summons Buster Blader from the deck, but it came in trap form. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess, but hey, anything's better than nothing. 1 copy of Vanities, and 1 copy of Solemn. So we have a lot of traps in this deck that we can put behind our Shaddolls and our Buster Blader locks, so really good stuff. Let's move into the extra deck. First, we're going to start off with Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend, so once again, fun deck. This guy requires 2 tuners and 1 non-tuner. This card actually is very practical for this deck because Buster Blader plus Falco plus level 1 tuner equals this guy, which is definitely doable in this deck. And then you also have tuners and Buster Dragon that can go for this. What this guy does is he nukes all cards on the field, and then during the battle phase, you can negate a spell trap that your opponent activates, and then he gains 500 during the battle phase. So he's a pretty solid card. I like him as a board wipe. I like all the Red Dragon Archfiend monsters. Well, except for the original one, but they're all so much fun. We have Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. We can make this really easily with Buster Dragon, a level 1 tuner. He can negate the effect of any card. He targets it, negates it once per turn during either player's turn, and then when he does damage, he special summons a tuner, so it lets you facilitate further synchro plays. Love this guy. Probably one of the best synchros in this deck, or one of the best extra deck cards I have. Stardust Dragon. This deck, the plays it can do can be kind of flimsy. It can be really easily broken with Mass Destruction type boards, so if I actually have enough time to get out Stardust, then I'm probably going to run that. I might run Starlight Road in the future. I might not, just because I have the Stardust, but in the meantime, I just have it as just being able to readily be synchroed into. We run 2 copies of Buster Dragon. This is the main strategy behind the deck, getting this guy out with Buster Blader. He makes all of your opponent's monsters dragons. Special summons a Buster Blader once per turn if you don't control one. And then during your opponent's turn, you can equip one of your dragon, you can trip one of your Buster Destruction Sword guys to a Buster Blader monster that you control, most notably Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. Wait for your opponent to do something and just be like, before you keep going on, I'm going to equip Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. I hope you're not using your extra deck. Really strong plays. And you can just activate it during the end phase in order to put Dragon Buster Destruction Sword on, so you're ready to go for crazy synchro plays during your next turn. So very good stuff. We run 1 Clear Wing. I need a way to get out of my own window lock sometimes, so I can just flip up Falco and synchro with Winda into this and then go on for better plays. Plus, this is one of the best level 7 synchros, in my opinion, in the game right now. We have 1 Exceed in the form of Shaddoll. I felt, because I run Instant Fusion, I just felt the need to run at least 1 rank 4, and Shaddoll I think is the best rank 4 in the game right now, so I run 1 of him. Moving into our fusions, we have 2 copies of Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. This is where all your control comes from. Flips all dragons to defense and negates the effects of dragons anywhere. Gets 1,000 extra attack for every dragon your opponent controls or is in the graveyard, and does piercing. It can't attack directly, but with numbers that big and the ability to pierce, you really don't need to. We have 1 copy of Norden, 1 Grista. Grista is good for preventing pendulum summoning. We do run the core, so we can run it. We have a Noyatilis. Noyatilis, we can go for this off of the core as well, and then we can go for it off of Instant Fusion with Norden. Shuts down ritual decks and a couple of other things as well, so I think it's worth running. We run 1 copy of Shikinaga. This is how we can get our Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordmaster, into the graveyard, or just get Buster Blader into the graveyard. Because if you already have the Buster Whelp combo set up, you can still go into Shikinaga. You can search for whatever, go for Shikinaga, and then just use the Buster Whelp in order to bring back the Buster Blader. So you can sit with a Shikinaga, Buster Dragon, and Buster Blader on field, ready to stop stuff from the extra deck, and then negating special summons. It's really good stuff. 2 copies of Winda because it's really easy to make, and then that pretty much does it for the entire deck. So once again, like I said, this deck is really, really fun. The consistency and the fallback of playing Shaddolls, you can play more conservatively with Shaddoll. Since Buster Blader has the 1 play, you have the added consistency of the deck milling and the draw power that Shaddolls offer you by having more Darks, Spellcasters for the Wonder Wands, and then just the Squamata plays in order to Foolish in addition to the Sinister Shadow games. It's a really fun deck. I would suggest you guys give it a try if you're interested. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and I'll be back at you later with future videos. This is Parkalad, out.